Hello, friends. Welcome to Jesus Freaks. That's this book here. As I always warn you, if these stories are difficult, so if you have a hard time with hard stories, please just don't watch this. We don't want to freak anybody out. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the stories of the persecuted and martyred church, and we're going to keep these in front of you for the rest of our lives. Here's a quote by this guy, Andronicus. Do your worst. I am a Christian. Christ is my help and supporter, and thus armed I will never serve your gods, nor do I fear your authority or that of your master, the emperor. Commence your torments as soon as you please, and make use of every means that your malignity can invent, and you shall find in the end that I am not to be shaken from my resolution. This is Andronicus, Roman Empire, AD 303. And here's the thing about him. Andronicus had been thrown into prison because he was unwilling to deny Christ. Then he was whipped, and his bleeding wounds were rubbed with salt. He was brought out from prison and tortured again, thrown to the wild beasts, and finally killed with a sword. The brave martyr was steadfast to the end. That they threw their worst at Andronicus, and Andronicus says, "Do your worst. I won't be shaken," and he wasn't. So there you go. There's your brother Andronicus, who's been in heaven for almost 2,000 years now. Oh no, little over 1,700 years. There you go. AD 301. All right, that's just a little short one. Let's get into the full context or full story now. Different guy entirely. We will die with you. Philip, Matthew, Jude, and Simon the Zealot, Roman Empire, AD 30. So we're going to cover a few guys here. But teacher, said one of the 12 solemn men, the last time you were in Jerusalem, the Jews tried to stone you. Another spoke up. It wasn't that long ago either. Are you sure you want to go back there? Jesus' answer only made them more confused. Why was he talking about walking in daylight and stumbling at night? Finally, Jesus said plainly, Lazarus is dead, and for your sakes I am glad I wasn't there, because this will give you another opportunity to believe in me. Come, let us go to him. Then Thomas turned to the rest of the disciples and said, let's go too, let's go too. We might as well die with him. They agreed, and they all went to Jerusalem with Jesus. As it turned out, no one died. Instead, Lazarus was miraculously raised from the dead in front of many witnesses. But from then on, the religious leaders plotted to kill Jesus. The night before his arrest, as Jesus and his disciples approached the Mount of Olives, Jesus told them, tonight you will all desert me, for it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. But after I have risen, I will go ahead of you into Galilee. Peter replied, even if everyone else deserts you, I never will. Hold on, turn the page here. Jesus answered, this very night before the rooster crows, you will deny you know me 3 times. But Peter insisted, even if I have to die with you, I will never deny you. And all the other disciples said the same thing. That night when the soldiers came to arrest Jesus, all the disciples ran off just as Jesus had predicted. Later, Peter and John watched the Lord's trial from the safety of a dark courtyard. Only John joined the women at the front of the cross. That's right, only John the Apostle was at the cross. With the women, of course. It wasn't until after the resurrection, the day of Pentecost, that disciples became bold witnesses for the Lord. They knew Jesus was the true Messiah, the Son of the living God. They had heard his words, had seen his miracles, and had witnessed his resurrection. Persecution, threats, beatings, imprisonment, even the death of their friends and fellow believers could not silence them. Not one of them quit and went back to the family business. Instead, these few men single-handedly took the gospel story throughout the known world. In the end, all faced death for their Lord rather than deny him again. Here we go. Now I think it's going to list the way these guys died. Here's Philip the Apostle. Right after Stephen was martyred in AD 34, Philip traveled to Samaria, where he led an early revival that was accompanied by signs and great miracles. Later, when the disciples divided the known world between them, Philip drew what is now Turkey and Syria. He taught and planted churches in many cities in that region. Finally, he came to Hierapolis in Phrygia. The idol worshippers there would not listen to the gospel Philip preached, even though the Lord worked several miraculous signs in their city. Some ancient historians said they whipped him, threw him in prison, and later crucified him. Other historians say he was tied to a pillar and stoned to death. Philip died in AD 51, becoming the second apostle to be martyred. Matthew. While still, these are the different apostles and how they died. Not all of them, but some of them. While still in Jerusalem, Matthew wrote his gospel to the Jews in Hebrew. Later, it was the dividing of the countries among the disciples. Matthew drew Ethiopia. There he accomplished much with teaching as well as with miracles. Ethiopia's king Agilippus favored the Christians, but when he died, an unbelieving heathen took the throne. King Hydakus had Matthew arrested while he stood teaching in his church. He was dragged outside, nailed to the ground with short spears, and beheaded. He died in AD 66. Jude, the brother of James. Jude, also known as Thaddeus and Lebes, wrote the book of Jude. He was also the youngest brother of Jesus and James the Less. He traveled in Mesopotamia, Syria, Arabia, and Persia, present-day Iran, reaching as far as Edema. There he preached boldly against worshiping idols and making heathen sacrifices. When the pagan priests saw that they were losing followers and money because of Jude's teaching, they attacked him with sticks and clubs, beating him to death. He died in AD 68. Simon the Zealot. Simon the Zealot was also known as Simon the Canaanite. He preached the gospel in Egypt, Mauritania, and in the islands of Great Britain. He preached, wow, Simon the Zealot preached in Great Britain. Ain't that cool? Some historians said he was crucified in Great Britain AD 70. Other historians say Simon left Great Britain and went to Persia, where he found Jude. Together they steadfastly continued teaching and preaching until Jude's death in AD 68. Later that same year, Simon was painfully tortured and crucified by a governor in Syria. So they listed how some of the apostles died. And here we go. We have a quote from Jesus here. We're only 7 minutes in. A slave is not greater than his master. Since they persecuted me, naturally they will persecute you. And if they had listened to me, they would have listened to you. They will do all this to you because of me, for they have rejected the one who sent me. They rejected God, of course. This is Jesus. That's John 15, 20, and 21. So tonight's thing was, we will die with you. And they did. They all lived up to that. So there you go. That's Jesus Freaks tonight. We will die with you. And we also did the spoken word. If you're looking for a poem, quite a long poem, but came out. And tomorrow morning, we're going to get back to Bible teaching there when we're sitting, relaxing and resting. So anyway, love you. Can't get enough of you. Hope this is good for you tonight. We're in Diane's room. Tomorrow, we'll be filming from I always want to say Jolly Roger, Jolly Farms truck there in Cave City. As we sit to wait, we go up there early in the morning, then we leave at 7 so we can start our day out. It's all good. Anyway, love you. Can't get enough of you. And we will see you tomorrow. Have a blessed day.